What's going on is Fist, bringing you the news like I do. And I think a big culmination of things have happened which now have put a spotlight on gaming. I think it was where you would have news reporters and analysts reporting about, gaming is dead, consoles are going to die, blah, blah, blah. I mean, they're just looking at trends, they're looking at certain things. And that was the old way of doing things. You have analysts who are doing research and they're not really looking at gaming, they're really not in the trenches as to know what's going on. And so sometimes you'll get this Coney 2012 effect where, there'll be somebody who will launch some type of super hype and everybody just latches onto it because it's on Twitter, because it's on YouTube, because it's on Facebook. They just presume that it's true without really doing the research. So now what you're starting to see is there's this underlayment of control where we have, certain people who pay money to certain individuals or certain groups of people who can influence the social network and then get something out there that's not really true. And then all of a sudden you'll have something like Bloomberg News and CNBC and other agencies that, deal in financing reporting it almost like as if it's fact. And even having people on their show telling you straight up lies. And it's funny that they'll sit there and correct them. They'll scroll across the bottom and they'll correct them. And I'll cover that later on in this video. But it's funny because, they're subject to the truth, but it's not their fault. They're not, they can tell you the numbers of the truth, but they can't tell you why, or they can't identify what is really happening. If you're a true game analyst, and if you're in the trenches and you're constantly observing what's going on, what is being said, then you're an analyst. But if you're just an analyst and you're looking at numbers and you can't really predict the future of gaming or what game's going to really do good, you don't understand that. So you're not really a true gaming analyst. So you have gaming analysts out there that'll say, oh yeah, this game's going to blow up just because, this company said it is, and then they spend $250 million on marketing, and then it goes into the underlayment of the social network, and it pops up on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, and then they presume that it's fact when it's not. And I'm going to give you indicators to point to why all this stuff is not true, and I'm going to leave links in the description below. I'm going to start off with the first, and I'm going to specifically talk about Destiny. I'm going to leave you a link in the description below. I think it was Bloomberg Television. And this lady comes on saying that, video gaming, wow, it just blew up and it's doing so well. And we thought because of the analysts that console gaming was going to die and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But I don't think they understand what the scheme is. To me, as I'm looking at it now, Destiny is probably the first pump and dump video game ever. Now, yesterday I called it the movie style of release. Where they release a movie and they hype it up. But now it's just a pump and dump scheme. That's the way I'm looking at it now. Because of the simple fact that upper CEO management is deliberately doing this because they know or they cannot take a chance on a game not making it. That is their way of looking at it. And you can see this by the simple fact about how much money they invest into marketing and not really listening to and developing a game and nurturing it and having it develop. And why a game that is sold by Notch, that is $2 billion being sold to Microsoft, that has true value to it. The spotlight, like I said, has been shined on the gaming community because of a Notch game going for $2 billion to Microsoft, Twitch selling for close to $1 billion, and I forgot what the other one was that they pointed out, but Oculus going for $2 billion with Facebook. So you have this conjunction of, the reason why they buy these things is because if you look back in time, it's not because it's part of what their subscribers, are that they're trying to cater to. It's because their subscribers, that's what mostly they always done on their forums. So if you look at YouTube, before YouTube, and the reason why YouTube missed this boat is because it's very interesting. I mean, it's a huge subject, and it's far deeper rooted into why I'm getting to the point as to why, Destiny is where it's at. So I have to go back and explain to you. I know you're not all getting it right here in this video, but if I sat down and I talked to everybody and answered all your questions, you'd understand it more. Because I've been around here since day one and I can see what's going on. YouTube, the front page of YouTube was nothing but video games. Video games, video games, video games, video games. YouTube decided that they were going to do content created stuff, and they pushed gaming out of the way. And people just said, you know what, we're just going to go to Twitch. They lost out on $1 billion. Literally, gaming was YouTube. They could have just did gamingtube.com or youtubegaming.com. But they just pushed it out of the way. Like, they didn't even want to hear it. And now Google bought, I think it was Google? Yeah, Google bought Twitch. Not Google, Amazon bought Twitch for $1 billion. That's what YouTube sold for. You could have got your money back. Obviously, YouTube's bigger than that now. But you understand the point here. That it's not because it's not because the other way around. It's because gaming is the biggest thing out here in the media. They just don't know it. People between 18 to 49, that's what they do for fun. They game. That's what it is. I mean, most of Facebook is nothing but pictures and gaming. That's what that website is. Of course they're going to get Oculus. Microsoft, because of Minecraft, is fun. And it's been nurtured and it's a real game. What kind of advertising did Notch ever do? Do you think he spent $250 million on advertising ever? No. He sold that game for $2 billion to Microsoft. So when you look at the comparisons and the contrasting to what's going on in Activision and Destiny, and what I want to say why Destiny's a pump and dump game is because the CEO and the top people at that company are deliberately doing what they're doing. They're making this game, and they're just, and it's not, this game is successful. It's not because the video games are successful. It's because they're spending $750 million to hopefully, they're gambling to make $350 million. So you're spending, what company that couldn't take a chance and say we might make it, we might not make it. And I'm going to leave you the reports that were just out from September 9th. I'll leave it. There's a true analysis on Activision stock going all the way back to 2010 or earlier. The guy broke everything down. He told you, he's going to tell you, and then I'm going to quote him on some things. They're basically taking money from World at Warcraft and like Modern Warfare 2, and they're buying back stock to make their stock look like it's, not depreciating. And that they had a cash flow of X amount of dollars, and now it's shrinking, and they're trying to just constantly, they're trying to flip. They're trying to pump and dump a game on you really fast in order to keep that revenue coming in. Instead of making a great game like Minecraft, like the principle of having fun, and this is what I said earlier in this game. The top management of Activision is making a pump and dump game. Hopefully you will buy it right from the beginning, and that's where they're investing their money, and then they're done with you. That's it. And move on to the next game. Let's do the same thing with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Pump and dump, pump and dump. We're going to throw so much money at you to buy this game in the first week, and if you don't buy it, that's the chance we're going to take. And they have all these other IPs that, they're taking money from over here and they move it over here. Stock goes down, they buy back to bring it back up. And I'll leave the links in there. You could go read all this stuff. It's not me just saying this. I mean, Destiny going back to the point what I was saying is that they spend $750 million. You go look on Twitter and you see CEOs taking pictures with certain people on YouTube or on Twitter who have followings. Their whole strategy is to market to the social network in order to push their game. It's not even about the game being good anymore. It's about how much money what is the analysis of us dumping this money into this game to get back a return, instantaneously. Because we cannot foresee our game. We cannot foresee our game making money in the long run. That's what they're banking on. Let me ask you a question. Do you think the most powerful company in the world, Microsoft, if Bungie was a good company, do you think they would let them go? Do you think they could just replace Bungie and all Activision's doing is copying what Microsoft does? And you're like, well, why would Microsoft keep Bungie when they got the money? All they have to do is pull out the marketing campaign, spend $750 million to make $350 million. It's all relative to them. Activision isn't relative to them. They're not a company with $250 billion. They're a company that has 4 studios that are constantly rotating. They got 450 employees on 3 studios, and these are not cheap workers. These are professionals that probably minimum every guy makes $100,000. And then on top of that, all the marketing, all the research and developing, all the advertising, just to capture back a third of that. And it's a huge gamble. And that's why the analyst is sitting there at the end of his conversation where he gives you all the evidence. He says, in conclusion, Destiny is nothing but hype, and I would not buy Activision stock. And if you look at Activision stock, it's like going all the way down. I'm not lying about it. What I'm saying is that these games, Destiny, if you look at it, Sniper Scout, Fusion Weapon, I mean, these you're talking about, like I said before, this game, the curve and the amount of time you have to play within these games to unlock legendary weapons, and then once you get there, it kills the new audience of players. And if the guys who are the CEOs or the developers even cared, then they would understand that would kill off new generations of players who invest all that time into a game and then they cannot compete. They're all they're left with is just a group of players who did the same thing they did. There's no new influx of players coming in to keep the game going. And so, what does the top CEOs care about that? They care about just hitting you with that marketing, hitting you with that advertising, throwing the game out there, and you buy it. I hope you buy it. Well, the rest of us realize the true analysis of this game is that it's a pump and dump game for Activision. That's all it is. And I might have to say that Call of Duty Ghosts is going to be a pump and dump game. Because now these guys are so scared to have an individual identity that they are all copying themselves. So that way there's no risk in them taking out the amount of money that they put into marketing, so that they, at least by the laws of average, if my game looks like everybody else's game and I throw more money at you in advertising and everything like that, then I'm probably going to be the one making the most money back. But if I make my game like Battlefield 4 and that game already sucks, what's the point of spending all that money in the first place on advertising? I'm not going to recoup anything. I'm not going to make nothing on the back end either. This is what I'm saying. Decisions probably come from the top. Everybody make a game like Halo. We'll handle it from here. We'll throw so much money at marketing. We'll be the best at marketing. Therefore, we'll be number one, and we're going to make the most revenue on our turn. It's not about a good game anymore. And so when these analysts come on from Bloomberg TV and CNBC, I mean, the guy was sitting there. I'm going to leave the link to this video. The guy's sitting there. He's straight up lying. And he goes, oh, yeah, Destiny sold 500 million copies at $60. And I was like, are you crazy? No, it did 500 million. It sold to distributors. It didn't distribute 500 million units. That would be like 100 billion. That would be like 100 million sales or something. 100 million units. It would be like, it'd be bigger than Modern Warfare 2 or Go or whatever game was the biggest Call of Duty. Modern Warfare 2. It would be impossible. Impossible. So, all I'm saying is that you go look at the links below. I'm going to leave the first link. Go watch that one first and listen to this guy's retard. And they correct him. I don't know how they hype this guy up and look at that. Then go to Activision stock and go look at it. And then go look at the link where I show the analysts talking about, you know, how Activision is covering its tracks and buying back its own stock and why it's not a buy and it's all hype. I'm not saying this. This is down here in the links. Go watch it. It's just ridiculous. To me, Destiny is the first pump and dump scheme video game ever made. And it's all about, you know, gambling with $750 million to make $350 million. And World at Warcraft and all these other games, they're all deteriorating. Where's their revenue going to come from? They got to pick up new IPs and just push marketing on you. It's not even about the game anymore. If it was, they would be selling their IPs like Notch sold his to Microsoft. Anyways, until next time, it's your boy Fizz. Peace. I'm out.